Okay, we continue with our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We'll do an invocation prayer and then go into our today's text. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपाम्बुदीर्य तमहं प्रपद्ये मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तविंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Again, warm welcome to everyone. So we continue with our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Uh, Chapter 1. So we read yesterday till text 31 and to 32, 35 as well, but maybe today I will try to do kind of resume our study from text 31 onwards and see where we reach. Huh? Okay. Okay, I will stop sharing for now. See, Bhagavad Gita is all to put us always in an excellence track, no? To always keep us refining ourselves, to always keep us purifying ourselves, to always help us stay motivated. A person actually, I mean, who is a dead person? One who not just loses his body as such, but one who loses hope in life. That's way more dangerous, heavily dangerous. One who loses hope in life, one who loses inspiration, motivation. And we all are driven by inspiration, motivation. We all need inspiration, motivation. है ना? तो बोलते हैं ना क्या, हारे को हरि नाम, हारे को हरि नाम. हाँ, लेकिन बताओ इसमें एक समस्या है. क्या समस्या है? हारे को हरि नाम सुना होगा ना, या हारे को हरि का सहारा. In and if I translate in English, then I mean, God helps the helpless. Say, huh? God helps the helpless, one who is completely helpless. So इसमें एक समस्या है. There is one problem in this. In saying God helps the helpless, और या हारे को हरि नाम, हारे को हरि का सहारा, इसमें एक समस्या है. थोड़ा बताइए क्या समस्या हो सकती है. Just if you think what could be the problem, I mean, theoretically it makes sense, doesn't it? Like God helps the helpless, yeah, as they say, like also a good expression, uh, the divine being, the holy uses the lowly or uplifts the lowly, है ना, जो गिरा हुआ है, जो सताया हुआ है, जो त्रस हुआ है, जिसने हाथ उठा दिए. Krishna came to the rescue of Draupadi. And Draupadi had already surrendered, na, lifted both her hands up, and she had no hope other than taking shelter of Krishna. So Hare ko Hari Nam, there is a catch in this. There is something like may not be why still it doesn't fit in. Any thoughts? Abhishek, Diksha, Harsha, Pratik, Alan, Evie, and others. Should I say? See, God helps the helpless. This is very true, very true. हारे को हरिनाम, ये एकदम सत्य बात है. पर समस्या इतनी है कि हम अपने आप को हारा हुआ नहीं मानते हैं. उतनी समस्या है ना. हम अपने आप को हेल्पलेस नहीं मानते हैं, होते हुए भी हम स्वीकार नहीं करते हैं, या होते हुए भी वो हमसे टिकता नहीं है, हम पे टिकता नहीं है ऐसा भाव। पूरा संसार सृष्टि, और केवल इस ब्रह्मांड की बात नहीं है, अनेकों ब्रह्मांड, सारे, अनेकों भी नहीं, सारे ही जितने अनगिनत ब्रह्मांड, सब कुछ, सब कुछ कृष्ण की सत्ता के अंदर है। कृष्ण की छत्र छाया, कृष्ण की सत्ता, कृष्ण की शक्ति के अंदर का सब कुछ चल रहा है। सब कुछ कृष्ण के निगरानी सैंक्शन के अंदर है, कंट्रोल के अंदर है, एवरीथिंग एंड एवरीवन, है ना। एंड द ओनली थिंग अस ह्यूमंस इज we do not realize, I mean, even sadhakas, practitioners, it is so tough, I mean, to, और देना क्या है भगवान को? What is Krishna asking from us? What needs to be given to Krishna? Nothing but our ignorance. Nothing but our ignorance. है ना? The biggest attachment we have is our ignorance, is to our ignorance. हमारे अज्ञान से हम इतने चिपके पड़े हैं। वास्तव में जिससे भी हम चिपके पड़े ना, वो अज्ञान ही है हमारा, अज्ञान ही है। कोई एक ऐसी चीज बताओ जिससे हम चिपके पड़े और वो अज्ञान ना हो। अन्यथा हम साधु संग में भागवत गीता का श्रवण अध्ययन, है ना, भक्तों के संग में नाम जप माला, ठाकुर जी की विग्रह की सेवा इत्यादि, वृंदावन की परिक्रमा, ये सब तो, यही तो दिव्यता की सोपान है, और यही दिव्यता की ये एंगेजमेंट है ना। बट आउटसाइड ऑफ आवर aligning to our spiritual nature, our attachment is to matter and to ignorance only, deep rooted ignorance. ये भाव है ना, this is the emotion, the strong belief sentiment we have in ourselves. What? Okay, this job, this study, this spouse, this house, this dog is going to make me happy. Hmm? Okay, once I get a dog, I'll feel very godly, that sort of thing. And this, having this much of complete reliance and faith, taking complete shelter. So हारे को हरि नाम, इसमें बस समस्या इतनी है कि हम अपने आप को हारा हुआ नहीं मानते, हारा हुआ नहीं समझते, और हम द्रौपदी के ही चरित्र का थोड़ा सा स्मरण ध्यान करें, तो वो तो अपने आप को पूरा ही भगवान पे आश्रित थी ना, पूरा समर्पित थी। पति भी थे उसके वहीं पे, भीष्म पितामह जी भी थे, और भी द्रोणाचार्य जी भी थे, बड़े बड़े राजा और थे, धृतराष्ट्र थे इत्यादि। ठीक है, उसने सबसे याचना करी, अंत में तो काम भगवान ही है ना। हाँ, पहले तो अपने पतियों की ओर देखा, पतियों ने आंखें नीचे कर ली, फिर भीष्म पितामह जी को बोला, द्रोणाचार्य जी को बोला इत्यादि, जो राजा हैं सभी सभा में सभी को बोला, धृतराष्ट्र को बोला। सो द्रौपदी इन द असेंबली व्हेन शी वाज being disrobed, she was speaking to everyone. She first had a glance at her husband, but they put their eyes down. She spoke with Bhishma Pitama. He couldn't come to help, couldn't come to the rescue. She spoke in general with everyone present in the assembly. Everyone, anyone. No one could help her. No one could listen to her. Even the king himself. See, such an irony if the king becomes handicapped. If the king becomes handicapped, it's a big tragedy, big irony. Uh, Likewise, in our lives as well, in our lives as well, in our house as well. If the leader of the house is handicapped and predominantly is not spiritually wise, spiritually awakened, it's going to be a very tough thing. Although from someone's प्रीवियस इंप्रेशन, संस्कार से, स्वभाव से किसी के हो सकता है अच्छे पुण्य कर्म करे होंगे इत्यादि पिछले जन्मों के, तो ठीक है, गाड़ी घोड़ा मकान इत्यादि स्वास्थ्य सब बराबर, ये वो, लेकिन भाई कब तक? एक ना एक दिन तो जीवन की बागडोर खत्म होगी ना। उसके बाद उसके बाद क्या वही चलता रहेगा चक्कर, है ना? सो spiritually blind leader say, or a handicapped leader is very not at all good for the society, for the people, for the masses. Likewise, someone in the family as well, if there's not a spiritually awakened, enlightened person, not inclined to understand one's nature, to have a relationship with Krishna, it's a very uh, gruesome, grim situation. Then externally, it may appear a bit normal. Nothing is as such externally as well wouldn't be normal. And likewise, in our personal lives as well, we have to take ownership, responsibility for our personal lives as well. We just cannot afford to dump everything into government or into family, friends, relationships, my partner, my children, and all. No, individually as well, if we stay handicapped, as in if we do not grow spiritually, we won't be doing any favor to ourselves. So हारे को हरिनाम का सहारा. Draupadi, she admitted wholeheartedly that this is beyond me. Krishna, please come to my rescue. Please help me. And she took firm shelter of Krishna, one pointed shelter of Krishna without any deviation. And this is all we want to imbibe in life. This is all what we want to bring in our lives. See, the Krishna consciousness working is all paradoxical, heavily paradoxical. As in society, one who is too weak, one who is weak is looked down upon. ना? But आध्यात्मिक जीवन में अगर कोई बोलता है ना कि भाई मैं भगवान में कमजोर हूँ, हाँ भगवान में कमजोर हूँ, then Krishna comes to the rescue. But if someone says, oh no, Krishna, I am fine, just this much, Krishna, I am fine, that's okay, है ना? Then Krishna says, okay, so be it. Then you are on your own. You are on your own. And anyone in this world who is on his own is left to the tune of his karma and desires. And how can one be protected? How can one can feel secured, peaceful when he is exposed to his karma and desires? We should understand, all of us, every one of us, have a very colorful karmic background and a very colorful desires picture as well. Very colorful. And those colors repeatedly come to actually haunt us only. सो हारे को हरिनाम बात तो सही है, बस ये है हमें ये समझना, स्वीकार करना है कि भगवान हम हारे हुए हैं, बिना आपके सहारे के, बिना आपके नाम के, है ना? कृपया करके हमें आपकी सेवा में नियोजित करें. सेवा में बहुत हो गया ना, माया की सेवा करते करते तो करते ही आ रहे हैं अनादिकाल से. थोड़ा सा स्वाद इधर भी चखें. So Bhagavad Gita is there to put us in complete excellence zone. Always excelling, always excelling. And we will find lots of joy and peace within ourselves, lots of resolve, and then only we can be a good instrument. Uh, Actually, a sadhaka, a human being, is supposed to be a vessel. He wants to use his life, his body, his thoughts, his senses, desires, emotions, intelligence, speech. Everything is a vessel to carry and to pass on the mercy of Krishna. This is what all Krishna is doing with Arjuna, or going to do with Arjuna. So yesterday, day before, we read a bit on Achyuta, right? A pure devotee is also free from mistakes. But mistakes being, if you ask a pure devotee, what's the distance between London and New Delhi? He may not know this answer, है ना. लंदन से न्यू दिल्ली का क्या डिस्टेंस है भाई, या किस प्लेन का कितना किराया है इत्यादि. एक शुद्ध भक्त को ठीक है नहीं पता हो भाई, अभी अमेरिका के कौन राष्ट्रपति हैं नहीं पता हो भाई, क्या चल रहा है इत्यादि. बट ये कोई मिस्टेक वाली बात नहीं है. मिस्टेक मतलब जीवन की पहलू में, अ, जन्म, मृत्यु और उसके बीच में और उसके परे, इन पहलू में शुद्ध भक्त एकदम पूरे ज्ञान से भरे हुए लबालब, हाँ, पूरे ज्ञान से भरे हुए लबालब. और एक साधक वही है जो वास्तव में ऐसे शुद्ध भक्त को आश्रय ले, उनका आश्रय ले, कृपा याचना करें, भगवान से प्रार्थना करें कि भगवान मेरे जीवन में कृपा करके एक शुद्ध भक्त भेजिए. सी, कृष्णा इज प्लेइंग few different roles for Arjuna here. Krishna is acting as a pure devotee as well, in a sense. Then he is acting as a pure devotee. He is acting as spiritual master as well. Hmm? Then he is acting as a, supreme personality of Godhead as well, surely. Hmm? So for us, sadhaka, the prayer should be to Krishna to how can we actually understand, or how please send us a pure representative of yourself, a pure devotee when he comes in our life. जब एक शुद्ध भक्त का हमारे जीवन में आगमन होता है तभी वास्तव में हमारी भक्ति और संचारित होती है या स्वीकृत होती है, उसको स्वीकार करी जाती है ना. तभी हम सेवा भाव में सही से जुड़ते हैं. So free from mistakes doesn't mean that okay, or does he know this equation, does he know this mathematical formula, uh, does he know this biological term and all? No, he may or may not know. Yeah, but certainly a pure look at the misfortune again. कितनी विडंबना की बात है ना, कैसी स्थिति है संसार में. देखिए, जो कंप्यूटर प्रोग्रामिंग इत्यादि ये सब का बड़ा बोलबाला है. ठीक है, उनकी आवश्यकता भी है, उसकी अपने समय स्थान इत्यादि ये करके. लेकिन जो व्यक्ति अगर ये नहीं समझ पाए मैं कौन, जीवन मृत्यु और जीवन मृत्यु के बीच में और जीवन मृत्यु के परे, तो बहुत दयनीय स्थिति है ना बाप रे, बहुत दयनीय स्थिति है. जिंदगी का दिया कभी ना कभी तो बुझेगा, और बिना इस ज्ञान के ऐसे ही कम अज्ञान जोड़ रखा है क्या हमने, और फिर इस जीवन में भी वही अज्ञान को और बढ़ाते रहें और छोड़ के चले जाएं, क्या होगा बताओ. Already we are carrying so much of ignorance within ourselves, and then if we do not look into spiritual science, spiritual subject matter, well, we begin life in ignorance and then we leave as well life in ignorance. But it is the kindness of Krishna. He has given us scriptures. He has given us this wisdom. And look, Bhagavad Gita, na, it's a song. Gita means a song, na, Geet. And where was this spoken? In the middle of a battlefield. युद्ध भूमि के बीच में, युद्ध भूमि के बीच में भगवान और अर्जुन के बीच में ये जो संवाद है पूरा गीत रूप में. This is why we devotees sing each and every shloka of it. Even Srimad Bhagavatam, 18,000 verses, and all can be sung in poetry form, different melodies and all. So देखिए, युद्ध के बीच में, लेकिन यही दिव्यता की बात है ना, और यही एक सज्जन व्यक्ति की बात है. युद्ध के बीच में ये आपके गीत रूप में जीवन के पहलुओं का चर्चा कर रहे हैं, गीत रूप में, और इतना मधुर गीत रूप में ऐसे करके. Also Krishna is giving this message, Krishna is giving this signal to all the opponents of Arjun, है ना, कि do not worry, victory is on Arjun's side. We will win what? Just by singing. Just by singing we'll get over this war or easily. So likewise as well in our lives, see, Arjuna's is a very precarious situation. Ours may not be that precarious. Huh? Ours isn't actually that precarious, but still we all are going through a mini Mahabharata, है ना? We all go through a mini महाभारत, मिनी वार, एक छोटा युद्ध तो हमारे जीवन में भी या तो प्रतिदिन या रेगुलर अवस्था में आए रहती है। लेकिन इसी भागवत गीता का गीत रूप में अगर हम स्मरण करें, श्रवण करें, सुने, चिंतन करें, गायन करें इत्यादि, अपने आप नेचुरली भगवान वो शक्ति भी देंगे कि हम अपने आप इसको अपने जीवन में क्रियान्वित भी करें। ऐसा थोड़ी ना भगवान आधा अधूरा कुछ नहीं छोड़ते। इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट कृष्णा इज गोइंग टू लिव अस इन अ लिम्बो स्टेट. He is going to give us this divine knowledge, pure wisdom. Then he himself is going us to give the realization, so that we can assimilate the knowledge and make it into a realization. Then he himself is going us to give us the courage, the motivation to apply, to act, to live by it, to eat, dream, sleep, breathe. What? Coca-Cola? No. Eat, breathe, sleep, drink, है ना? कृष्ण कथा, कृष्ण के गुणगान, कृष्ण का ही चिंतन, कृष्ण का ही गायन. Okay, so a bit of a what we are up to or what would be coming to us. देखो जिंदगी में ना किसी का प्रमोशन करना हो ना, गाजा बाजा इत्यादि, भागवत गीता का कितना ही करो कम है ना? कृष्णा भावनामृत का, कृष्ण के नाम, रूप, गुण, लीला, चरित्र, माधुर्य का जितना ही करो उतना ही कम है. क्यों? हरि अनंत, हरि कथा अनंत. हरि अनंत है ना, तो हरि से हरि की महिमा भी अनंत है, हरि की माधुर्य भी अनंत है. कृष्ण की माधुर्य, सब कुछ कृष्ण से जुड़ा जो है अनंत ही है वो, अनलिमिटेड, एनीथिंग रिलेटेड टू हिम and related to his name, form, his blessings, his grace, knowledge, wisdom, everything is ever evolving, unlimitedly growing. So this is why if we want to do a propaganda high, something like that, isn't it? And we might as well be promoting hype for Krishna. So जी खोल के हाइप करो भाई भगवान के लिए, जी खोल के, है ना? खूब मन से एकदम बड़ा चढ़ा के गुणगान करो कृष्ण की, एकदम सत्य बात. और हम कमी. So we go into our today's verse. Any thoughts, questions or comments for now?
Is your signal all right, Prabhu?
Should be fine. If it's too bad or breaking, then let me know. I'm in Vishnu Lounge. Okay, so quickly let's. Nice. Just let's read text 28 to 30, and then we'll go into 31 and pray for more discussion from there. All right. So, Pratik, would you be okay to read 28 to 30, all translations, please?
Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quirking and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only cause of misfortune. O Krishna, killer of the KC demon.
Hmm. So it is Krishna only who can apparently externally all it looks like a crisis, and actually it is. We are stuck in a big crisis. Material identification, material concept of life, everything. But it is Krishna only who can make gold out of it, which he will do for Arjuna. So Arjuna is so nicely representing us, so nicely. As Evie was saying the other day, all of us, we humans, we go through these emotions. Okay. Um, anyone heard this saying? There's this expression, this saying what? That we are human beings having a spiritual experience. Is that how it goes? Or we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Either of it, if you any of you have heard, we are human beings having a spiritual experience, or spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Again, look the tragedy irony. Well, we cannot say we are having human beings having a spiritual experience. I mean, if I say for myself, or generally, it takes a bit of valor, bravery to say actually we are human beings having actually a spiritual experience. How many in this world you think are actually, we know, okay, we are human beings, two legs, two hands, na? Four mouths, 10 eyes, whatever. So experience. And can we also say the other way? We are spiritual beings having a human experience. No, we cannot say that as well because we have not realized yet, even theoretically, generally again. What at the max, at the most, what we can say is we are human beings having a human experience, and to many, even not that as well. है ना? For many, no, even not that as well. For many, it would be like human beings having an animalistic experience, having an animalistic experience. But Bhagavad Gita, है ना? Bhagavad Gita will help us. Bhagavad Gita is our, yeah, only hope. That what will say, Bhagavad Gita will put us in that experience, in that mood, in that consciousness, wherein we'll realize we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience. Yeah. We are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience. So all of you say, I mean, theoretically, we can still comprehend, right? We are human beings having a spiritual experience, or spiritual beings having a human experience, or we are human beings having a human experience. There are many say, na? In India, when we go out for distributing books or some programs and all, or some in general friends, family, we meet someone say in train stations or where places and all. So many would say, "Oh Prabhu ji, हम हमको हमें इतना ज्यादा कुछ नहीं चाहिए, हमें इतना ज्यादा पता भी नहीं, हमें इतना ज्यादा चाहिए भी नहीं, हमें छोड़ दो, हम अपने हाल में ठीक है ना? हम मनुष्य बन के ही रह लें, बहुत बड़ी बात है इत्यादि." But no, actually, why to potential, such a caliber, then why should we underperform? Just a little encouragement, and many are happy human beings having an animalistic experience, or leading or living an animalistic experience. And it is the study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita which will really instill upon us, give us that encouragement, natural, natural inspiration to realize we are spiritual beings having, living, carrying a spiritual experience. And all this is what Arjuna has forgotten. Rather, all this is what we have forgotten. Na? And by the sheer blessings of Arjuna, by the sheer blessings of Krishna, this is all a revival process. Revival process. Uncovering. Things are there, dormant, but dormant, in a very sleeping state. कुछ नया मैन्युफैक्चर नहीं होगा, ना ही कुछ नया निकल के आएगा. ये भगवत प्रेम, भगवत ज्ञान, भगवत विद्या है ना, ये दिव्यता की जो स्थिति है, वो हम सभी मनुष्य मात्र का धर्म है. हम सभी मनुष्यों के अंदर है वो क्षमता. लेकिन भागवत गीता, भगवान के दिव्य वचन से उसका उजागर हो जाएगा, उसका पूरा सही से निरूपण समाधान हो जाएगा, वो निकल के आएगा. और जीव इसी के लिए ललायित है ना, तो सतही सहज ही आकर्षण बन जाएगा, बनेगा ही बनेगा. Okay, so let's share screen again. This is the position of Arjun, and we all would have experienced this in our lives at some point, some point or other. And again, like as Evie was mentioning, human experience, yes, but Bhagavad Gita is to put us on that trajectory, that we realize that we are spiritual beings. And if we are spiritual beings, then I mean, it makes kind of a bit of sense, isn't it? That we should rather be having a spiritual experience then. If we are spiritual beings, we better have a spiritual experience. और वो सुख जीवन में कब अनुभव करेंगे भाई? अब नहीं तो कब? 10 जन्म बात करेंगे क्या? Okay, so this is the first reason for Arjuna's not fighting. Material compassion, है ना? Familial affection, bodily concept of life. उसके कारण से वो युद्ध नहीं करना चाहते. और स्थिति वास्तव में बहुत दयनीय है अर्जुन की, बहुत दयनीय स्थिति है. समझो ये आपको केस लड़ना हो वकील को, और कटघरे में कौन खड़ा है? समझो आपका साला ही खड़ा है. अब बाप रे, साले को अगर जेल में भिजाना पड़े, हाँ, कितनी आफत आ जाएगी उस वकील को. अगर साला को नहीं भिजाए तो समस्या, साला को भिजाए तो पत्नी बेलन लेके पीछे पड़ जाए, है ना, बहुत समस्या हो जाएगी. सो इट्स अ वेरी वेरी प्रिकेरियस सिचुएशन फॉर अर्जुना. और imagine like a judge, if he has to give a judgment, pure impartial judgment, very difficult. Okay, Diksha, read 31.
I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire my subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness.
अभिषेक जी, आप पढ़िए 32 से 35. Would you be okay to read, Abhishek? 32 to 35. Okay. Evie, would you be okay to read? Would you be able to read?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will be derived from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra?
थैंक यू। बहुत ऊंचे भाव है ना अर्जुन का। देखिए मोहित भी हुए हैं तो भी कितना ऊंचा भाव है उनका, कितना ऊंचा भाव है। जैसे एक छोटी सी स्मरण में अभी आ रहा है, एक छोटा वाक्य ना। So there's an incident, it happens in Mahabharata. What भीम, भीम को बचपन से ही, खैर इन दुर्योधन पार्टी को तो पांडवस पसंद नहीं थे बचपन से, है ना। तो क्या किया, भीम को कैसे रास्ते से साफ करें, दुर्योधन इसको अर्जुन को कैसे करें, युधिष्ठिर महाराज को कैसे करें रास्ते से साफ। एंड भीम वाज वेरी sorry, Duryodhan, he was very envious of Bhim, was very jealous. Since childhood, he didn't like him actually. So what they plotted that we kill him, and they planned like we kill all these five brothers. So and how? Well, first let's get rid of them, say one by one. So Bhim, so he arranged for a picnic. Duryodhan, he arranged for a picnic for all them cousins, brothers and all, and in a different place, in a different venue, we go for a day out or maybe a trip, 4-day family trip or like that. Just us boys will go and play sports. So fine, they got it signed off, agreed by their father, by the king. And in there, Duryodhan planned what? Zehar. भीम को प्लान किया ना कि इसको मीठे में खूब भर के जहर दो, टॉप क्लास क्वालिटी का जहर। So Duryodhan planned to poison Bhima. Bhima likes eating, so they prepared him some good food, cakes and all, and put lots and lots of good quality say poison, very strong poison, um, and made Bhima eat. And they themselves were personally serving, and they were all watching. Is Bhima going to take? Is Bhima taking? Oh yes, yes. Feed him more. So Bhima ate more and more, more and more. He ate to his good satisfaction, but um, the effect of poison couldn't trigger straight away, couldn't trigger straight away. It was like by end of the day, evening time and all, he was getting a bit unconscious, weak, frail. Otherwise throughout the day he was still fine, a bit dizzy perhaps, but still fine. See, such is the personality, I mean, the strength of Bhima. And here as well, I mean, the thing is, Arjuna, even though he's under illusion, even though he's been put under illusion, but still, look, he's speaking such a from a gentle point of view. He's speaking such a as a civilized, moral person. Huh? So Bhima as well, he was just. I will finish this, and again, beautiful learning, teaching saying here for us to imbibe in our life. What? Bhima, when he was poisoned such heavily, in the evening time only, the Duryodhan and party brothers somehow managed to tie him up. And they were struggling hard to tie Bhima as well, even though he was in a unconscious state, hmm, unconscious, dying state. And they somehow managed to push him down the river or the seabed. एंड भीमा को कैसे तैसे बांध करके उन्होंने भीम को बांध करके उन्होंने गिराया, कैसे तैसे बहुत परिश्रम करना पड़ा। एक तो जहर का असर तुरंत नहीं हुआ, कुछ घंटों बाद बहुत मेहनत से बांधना पड़ा और फिर उसको पानी में ढकेला समुन्द्र में। अभी समंदर में ढकेला तो वो कहाँ, समंदर की शैया में गया ना, बेड में। सो एंड देयर what? Snakes, he met snakes. Bhima, when he was thrown in the seabed, snakes were there who came out and saw this big Bhima, and they what? They hissed him, the snakes. उन्होंने डंक मारा ना भीम को, और डंक मार के पूरा जहर पी गए भीम का। The snakes were hissing Bhima, and through the hissing they were actually taking away all the poison from Bhima's body. They were sucking away all the poison from Bhima's body. So Bhima was getting rather cured than dying. And when he woke up, they were again living entities, है ना। नागपति के पास लेके गए भीमा को। Those living entities and all, they took him to Bhima to sea in the kind of the kingdom of snakes, and met with the head chief personality there. And they could recognize, seeing his aura, seeing his body, and also ask about his name, whereabouts. They could recognize his Kunti's son, and they had a relationship with Kunti as well, some sort of relationship with Kunti. So they fed Bhima very nicely. They looked after him very nicely. And what did they do further on? भीमा का इतना बढ़िया से उन्होंने ध्यान रखा भीम का, और उसके लिए खाने पीने की बहुत बढ़िया से व्यवस्था करी, सब कुछ। और इतना कुछ करके बाद भी क्या किए, भीमा को और अब they were discussing, they fed him very nicely, and they were discussing what gift do we give to him. He wants to leave now, which is fair enough. He wants to go back to his mom, because mom must be worried now, brothers must would be worried, where is Bhima. So he wants to leave now, fair enough. And what do we give him as a parting gift? सोचा उनको बदले में क्या भेंट दें हम भीम को. So they said, well, jewels and all, रत्न जवाहरात ये इसको पसंद नहीं आएंगे, इसके काम का नहीं है. And so many things, gadgets won't be of any use to him, he wouldn't like gadgets and all. Okay, so what gift can we give to him, should we give to him? तो उन्होंने उसको ड्रिंक दिया, है ना, अमृत ऐसा दिया, ऐसा जूस, ऐसा ड्रिंक दिया उसको, which had so much of actually real proper energy drink, रियल प्रॉपर एनर्जी ड्रिंक दिया, जिससे उसमें समझो 10,000 हाथी का बल आया, उतना उतना बल आया ना. And then Bhima, when he came out, he met his mother, he met his brothers and all. And Duryodhana also saw, he met Duryodhana as well. He knew this. His mother and brothers also knew this, but they tolerated. They didn't retaliate. They didn't lodge a complaint. Anna? Why? They were completely taken shelter of Krishna. They had completely taken shelter of Krishna. So they were not, they were perhaps hurt, upset, certainly hurt, upset and all, but they were still not very inimical. They were not of a revenge attitude. Krishna consciousness really doesn't teach us to be revengeful, to take revenge or hold this grudge and all. No. Uh, So भीमा, अब now look, भीम के साथ क्या हुआ, इधर जहर खिलाया ना उसको, कितना जहर खिलाया, लेकिन परिणाम क्या निकला, परिणाम क्या निकला, जहर खिलाने के बावजूद भी उसको बांध करके ढकेला पानी में मरने के लिए, और परिणाम क्या निकला, उसमें और ही बल आ गया भगवान की कृपा से, सब भगवान की कृपा से, है ना, और बल आ गया, कितना बल आ गया, अधिक. So he was forced, he was made, he was treated to eat poison, and there was a clear attempt to kill him. They tied him and clear attempt to kill him, but by the blessings of Krishna, by the mercy of Krishna, he came out victorious, so much so that the poison didn't have any effect on him. Rather, he came out even more strength, carrying more physical strength. And look how much that would have given them so much of further faith, so much of further faith and attachment towards Krishna. Yeah. Likewise, in our lives as well, we really hear so many filthy things. We eat as well, not so good, and so many such things and all. But it wouldn't really have a strong effect or anything upon us as long as we are hearing the words and wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, we are chanting the holy names of Krishna, and then life would change about, life would definitely change about. ये ना, संसार तो हमें कुछ ना कुछ दे ही रहा है, सभी कुछ ना कुछ दे ही रहे हैं भाई, हम भी अपने आप को कुछ ना कुछ समझा ही रहे हैं, बस भगवान को जोड़ना है अपने जीवन में. तो संसार, समाज, हम भी खुद अपने आप को जो कुछ दे रहे हैं, या हम भी किसी ना किसी को देते ही हैं ना, लेकिन वो सब दिव्यता की सोपान में जाएगा जब हम भगवान को जोड़ेंगे अपने जीवन में. So even though Arjuna he is under illusion, put under illusion, still he is speaking such a lofty message, है ना? That he is willing to lay down his lives. He is saying, what good, what joy will we receive, what pleasure. Huh? Good thought. But see, the problem, the second reason why Arjuna is not fighting is because of this pleasure, sense gratification. What pleasure? pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Or what avail to us our kingdom of happiness and all this? So the second is driven more motivated by material sense gratification or happiness, in the sense now जीवा का ये ना जितना से जितना वो भौतिक धरातल में फंसते जाता है, उतना से उतना उसका भगवान का स्मरण छूटते रहता है, उतना से उतना. The more we get in the grip of material layers, the more we put on material layers, the more we forget, remain in a forgetfulness of Krishna, or remain in a forgetfulness of our identity. And when we are in the grip of material layer, I mean, what is the biggest bug? What is the biggest कीड़ा we are carrying? बताऊं सबसे बड़ा एक सबसे बड़ा कीड़ा हम में क्या है? क्या? मजा नहीं आया, मजा नहीं आया, मजा नहीं आया. खास करके भारत में विशेष करके सम प्लेसेस दिल्ली में ऐसे ही बोलते हैं ना, क्या मजा नहीं आया, मजा नहीं आया यार, कुछ कुछ चाहिए, कुछ चाहिए, कुछ मजा यार, ये नहीं कुछ नया, कुछ मजा 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 मजा. Same, it is a worldwide thing. It's just not a specific cultural thing. Even in UK, America, where not? Oh, my mind is reeling for something. I want something. I want something. Something new, something different. Something new, something different. तो ये मजा मजा मजा, बट जो हमारा तरीका है ना मजा ढूंढने का या मजा करने का, वो वास्तव में हमें सजा की ओर ही ले जाता है. बिकॉज इट इज ऑल टेंटेड with material thought process, heavily with material understanding. And it's not like Krishna consciousness lifestyle is nothing like, okay, there won't be joy. No, rather there is so much of joy. Devotees dance in kirtan, so much relish kirtan. While cooking also they will be dancing and cooking, putting kirtan on, dancing and cooking. Such a beautiful, wonderful feast everyone has. We had yesterday in Karuna Bhavan, beautiful Sunday feast program. So eating, eating, chanting, feasting is all Krishna consciousness. तो ये मजे मजे की एक बहुत बड़ी समस्या है हम सबको. And now this is so short-lived happiness or everything, that we are very much troubled by this instant happiness, instant happiness, instant happiness. Something to satisfy, gratify our senses very instantly. Otherwise we go restless. So this second reason being, Arjuna is more tilted, is more thinking, is more forgetting Krishna and more thinking, okay, if this die, who will I enjoy with? Whom will I show the kingdom and all? What's the point in living? Who to enjoy with and what to enjoy with if everything and everyone is gone? So more of sense enjoyment. Okay, any question, comment, or any thoughts or anything anyone would like to add, share? Okay, now we go into our today's text, huh? So, Ellen, please read. Guessing you can read now. 36, huh?
No problem. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
Okay, please read 37 to 38 as well.
O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarrelling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin?
Hmm. So this is again the third reason what Arjuna is quoting for not fighting. Again, some of you went to the translation and purpose as well. When it comes to third chapter, we'll again go to each. Like to share what is this third reason which Arjuna is quoting for not fighting. Mainly Abhishek, Pratik, Evie, Ellen, Harsha.
That it's sinful.
Nice. Yeah. Yes, Ellen.
Um,
Were you saying something, Ellen?
oh, sorry, that was an accident. Sorry.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So sinful reaction, and see again. Uh, it's interesting a bit, huh? Arjuna says sin will overcome us. No, he's not saying sin will overcome me if I fight us. He's roping Krishna as well in this. Let's quickly go into the shloka. Sin will overcome us. He's roping Krishna also uh, into this. That engaging in such an act will bring us sin only. Uh, This is what na a conditioned in our conditioned state is only a living entity says, "Oh Krishna, पाप लगेगा भगवान आपको इसके लिए भी देखना आपको भुगतना पड़ेगा या इत्यादि." हाँ? In our conditioned state only, we do not even care and we dare to curse God. We dare to curse Krishna. We dare to put blame upon Krishna. We dare to find wrong with Krishna, find fault with him and all. ये हमारी बद अवस्था में ही ना भगवान पे ही दोषारोपण करना सहज और कितने उससे हम दोषारोपण करने लगते हैं कितने सहजता से एक और घटना स्मरण में आ रही है मंदिर था भारत में एक कहाँ पे अभी ध्यान नहीं मेरे को उस मंदिर में अर्चा विग्रह थे उनकी ठाकुर जी थे उनकी सेवा करता था पुजारी हाँ, और वो बड़ा के सब कुछ सेवा समय से उठाना भोग लगाना भगवान को है ना ड्रेस चेंज कराना इत्यादि सब कुछ और मौसम के अनुसार साफ सफाई सब बढ़िया से रखता था पंक्चुअल एंड ऑल बट उसके अंदर ना बड़ी भौतिक इच्छाएं थी भगवान ये हो जाए भगवान ये नहीं चला जाए इत्यादि बस ऐसे करके और खैर ठीक है वो करते रहता था कि भैया चलो उस क्या क्या भाव से वो करता था कि ये मूर्तियां हैं इन मूर्तियों को मैं अगर ठीक से करते रहूं ना इनको मूर्तियों को दिया और करते रहूं हाँ इन मूर्तियों की आरती उतार दूं और इन मूर्तियों को मैं खाना पीना दे दूं खाना पीना ही सोच के खिला दूं पिला दूं इत्यादि तो ठीक है अपना काम बनते रहेगा उसी उतनी उसकी श्रद्धा थी उतने स्तर की फिर एक दिन क्या हुआ ऐसे सालों साल करने पे अब ठीक है उसके जो भौतिक कर्म और इच्छा देव इच्छा के अंतर्गत जो उसको मिलना था मिल रहा था तो there's this brahmana he was a very staunch brahmana in terms of say his discipline or punctuality. He used to live in a temple, worship a temple, and the deities. He would feed them timely, dress them timely, look after them, everything timely, and was very neat and clean, everything punctual. But he harbored many materialistic desires, heavy. And also, what he considered the deities as like statues, it's like statues of marble or stone. He considered them statues of uh, some material elements, no more than a statue as such. And he thought, okay, if I look after these statues and give them something to eat and all, then yes, my desires will be fulfilled and I will be relishing, enjoying, I will be living a very blessed, peaceful life. तो ऐसे करके अब एक दिन करते करने के बाद ठीक है, अब उसकी कुछ एक बातें हो गई कर्म के देव के अनुसार, कर्मों के भाग्य को कोटा देखते हुए, और कई उसकी चीजें पूरी नहीं हुई, मनोकामनाएं। तो एक दिन उसने भैया बंद किया मंदिर, ताला लगाया, पर्दा बंद किया इत्यादि, खाना पीना कुछ नहीं, और ले कटोरा दे के ही मारा भगवान को ना, ऐसे करके। So one day he was so frustrated that whatever I'm harboring, desiring, is not coming true. What's the point in worshipping these statues? You are of no good, just like statues you are. And he was so, he was cursing, literally cursing the deities. And he was speaking with them and cursing them. And so much like he stopped, he closed that, locked the temple, and said, no more dressing, no more feeding tomorrow. And he threw their plates and pots and something, and also hurt them as well, a bit physically. Then that night he had a vision, he got a dream of the deities coming in his dream and speaking to him. And the deities asked, okay, what do you want, my child? What do you want, my son? What do you want, Mr. Brahmana? What do you want? Huh? Let us know. We'll give it to you now. So he was shocked. He said, well, I've been uh, say nagging you, or I've been after you. भगवान एक दिन उसी रात फिर उसके सपने में आए, भगवान आए सपने में, और उस ब्राह्मण को बोलते हैं, भाई तुम्हें क्या चाहिए बताओ, क्या चाहिए तुम्हें, तुम बोलो, हम तुम्हें दे, मैं तुम्हें देता हूँ, क्या चाहिए तुम्हें, करा दूंगा। तो अब वो चिंतन में पड़ गया कि भाई वो बोल रहा है भगवान को कि भगवान देखो, दसों सालों से, कोई एक दो साल की बात नहीं है, मैं आपके ये पूजा पाठ सब आपको दिया, अगरबत्ती सब कुछ आप ये सब कर रहा हूँ, हाँ, लेकिन आप तभी कभी मेरे को कभी दर्शन नहीं दिए, और कल रात आप मेरे को दर्शन दिए, क्या ऐसी बात, ऐसा क्यों भाई? इतने आपको तो पता होगा ना, फिर मैं दसों सालों से कितनी कामनाएं ये सब ले बैठा हूँ। So the Brahmana also then, and I mean, it's such a fortune, Krishna giving darshan to someone. That's the real fortune. And so Brahmana was very pleased, and his heart so melted soft, and he was asking Krishna with genuineness, quite inquisitive, what happened? For decades I have been worshipping you, doing everything spotless, very neat, clean, tidy, everything. I'm ticking all the tick marks, na? Whatever is in the books and all, taking everything. But how come? Why you are just giving me darshan just now? Why not like previously? So the deity spoke, the deities replied, ना भगवान ने, अर्च विग्रह ने भगवान को उनको बोला कि मेरे लल्लू लाल, मेरे ब्राह्मण, मिस्टर ब्राह्मण, ये जिंदगी में पहली बार है जब तूने मेरे को एक व्यक्ति के रूप में समझा, कल रात को, है ना, व्यक्ति के रूप में समझा, और तूने एक व्यक्ति के रूप के साथ मेरे साथ व्यवहार किया, अन्यथा तो तू जिंदगी भर से, दसों साल से मेरे को बस एक मूर्ति समझ के बैठा है ना, कि भाई मैं काठ की मूर्ति हूँ या पत्थर की मूर्ति हूँ, मार्बल की मूर्ति हूँ इत्यादि, एक मूर्ति बस बना के, और भाई मूर्ति को एक कपड़ा कर रहा हूँ, ये कर रहा हूँ, ये, तो तेरे में मूर्ति बुद्धि पड़ी थी पूरी की पूरी, मूर्ति बुद्धि या मिट्टी की बुद्धि पड़ी थी तेरे के अंदर पूरी की पूरी। तो भाई अब कैसे मैं वार्तालाप कर सकूं तेरे से? कैसे मैं वार्तालाप कर सकूं? नहीं हो पाएगा ना। So the Brahmana asked Krishna, why didn't you speak with me earlier? Why just now after decades? So Krishna told him, Mr. Brahmana, up until now you had been considering, you had so much, not just believing, you were fixed up, you were so realized, so determined that you are dealing with a statue of made of wood or earth, of clay or marble. uh, you were dealing with a material object. You were taking me to be a material object, not a person. And it was only yesterday night, last night, when you were having a go at me, when you were in full revenge or anger towards me. Then you actually spoke out and you said, then you considered, you thought, okay, what sort of person are you and all. You came at a somewhat at a, yeah, that I'm a person and you dealt me like that. Otherwise, I was just like another chair in your temple room. I was just like treated as just like another furniture in your temple room. Yeah, that ways only. So then the Brahmana realized, oh no. So I mean, on a side note, say deities they are not like some statues or say dolls like they are person. uh, they are through invocation of mantras, Vedic mantras and all. It's life given, and we should have that consciousness, that knowledge, that dealing, that understanding, how to take them as person, which will come about in our practice of Krishna consciousness. So, yeah, coming sin will overcome us, na? So Arjuna is speaking of sinful reaction that not only me, Krishna, to you as well. So yeah, when we are in low, when a person is in low, he doesn't care. He will blame, condemn, chastise his spouse, children, partners, whosoever, and everyone, and then uh, will this thing even so further government authority, boss company whosoever, so much so that yeah, he wouldn't even shy blaming Krishna, है ना? सब आप ही की वजह से भगवान, आप ही को दोष लगेगा, आप ही को पाप लगेगा, आप ही के कारण हुआ, इत्यादि इत्यादि. All cause of you, Krishna. You will have to bear of it the consequences. I am immune, I am free, I am sinless. It's you, you are wrong. So in ignorance only we think like this, and out of ignorance now Arjuna is worried. What will happen of me? I will be covered up in sin. Sin will touch me and all. है ना? He's forgetting Krishna. And in forgetfulness of Krishna, we think of sins or we think, okay, I'm doing good. But actually, a spiritual identity, a living entity is his internal bond with Krishna, and it is all to love and serve Krishna. And then Krishna will give us the right knowledge, the right understanding. Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Krishna says further in Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will provide him the intelligence. Yena mam upayanti te, by which he can come to me, he can attain me, he can come closer to me. And these are again reasons and points what Arjuna is quoting, saying that why he doesn't want to fight, why he doesn't want to fight. And again, his situation is such, he's not directly as he's not directly as he's giving reasons and all, but he's not able to find courage. He's not able to say, no, I'm not going to fight. And he's putting forward some decent arguments. Okay, any question, comment, or thoughts, please? Okay, let's see next verse then, huh? Okay, Harsha, read 39 to 41. Will you be able
I can't see the screen yet. The voice is breaking. I don't know.
39 to 41?
Okay. Okay.
Others?
Text 39. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation when irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Brissini, comes unwanted progeny. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
Hmm. Okay, Diksha, you read 42. दीक्षा पढ़ पाओगे 42 से 44 तक पढ़ लिया
जी भैया, I can. 42. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplined succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen.
so next Arjuna after sinful reason for not fighting is saying this culture family tradition na, protection of womanhood all this will be lost the heritage the tradition everything will be lost why because see in this war who will be killed men will be killed and then many many wives will lose their husband. Huh? Many of the children will lose their father. So all such, and then when lots of opportunities for thugs, rogues, plunderers to come about, huh? Everything like that for them, and the family tradition, the culture, everything will be lost. So look, Arjuna again, he's so being kind, compassionate. He's not thinking just for himself. He's thinking for the nation, for the citizens. And where is Dhritarashtra's mood? Where is Dhritarashtra's thought process? Dhritarashtra is thinking for himself. Dhritarashtra is thinking for himself or his son. But Arjuna is not at all thinking like that. There's a complete contrast at heavily, and Arjuna is not thinking for himself. Arjuna is thinking for the citizens. LNEV Harsha, is my voice still breaking?
It's probably, yeah. I've experienced this in other meetings, and if I think maybe if you turn off your video and only use the audio, might help. Maybe, I don't know, but it might be worth a try.
Is my voice still breaking or what?
It seems that
Okay.
was clear.
Oh, nice. So this now he's thinking. Dhritarashtra is more thinking for himself and his family members, his close family members. But Arjuna is more thinking for uh, the citizens. He's more thinking for the citizens. So what will happen to the citizens after this war? Is his concern. To men will die in this war, and what will happen to the women, to their children? What will happen to elderly people? And then what will happen to who will give protection to the brahmanas, to the saintly people, and who will bring about that culture? All such are Arjuna's concerns. And these are again concerns of a noble person. Duryodhana wasn't thinking at all on those lines. Rather, Duryodhana, someone of his own family, someone of his own family, Duryodhana, he, Draupadi, his own sister-in-law, he was misbehaving. He allowed such a shameful act to happen about to her. Uh, So there's a huge contrast altogether. So yeah, Arjuna, even though is under illusion, but he's completely speaking like very high morality he's carrying, high morality. And okay, see, in this thing, uh, there should be good looking after everyone in the society, everyone in the society. Men, women, children, elderlies, everyone. Speaking of some say women, elderlies, children, saintly people. Who who should be given, say, more priority, or who should be looked after even more strongly? Cows, animals, predominantly cows. Say, looking after cows, looking after uh, women, say, looking after children, looking after elderlies, and looking after saintly people. Where should more priority could be given, say? Any thoughts? Hmm? Alan, you were saying something?
Was it from the list you just gave? Cows, saintly people, women.
Yes.
I would say
Or
women.
okay. Or bring it if there's something more to the list, say, if you want to add. Uh, See, the highest regard, the highest, say, the protection, or the highest regard, the highest care should be given to scriptures. Scriptures or Brahmanas, the priestly class, the saintly class. Because if Brahmanas are given that care, that protection, uh, that respect in Brahmanas, they're not like, again, in Kali Yuga, everything is hodgepodge. Mm. So it's not like a Brahmana would never say, okay, I want respect, I demand respect and all. No, it's more of a culture thing. Uh, and if Brahmanas, they are taken care. And by having said that, Brahmanas should also act like a Brahmana. But in Kali Yuga, everything is more or less like a khichdi, na? So it's quite difficult. But if Brahmanas on their part, yeah, saintly people on their part, they should act like saintly persons. And if saintly persons are given the best care, the best protection, say the best regard, then they will reveal the message of the scriptures to us. They will enlighten us on the message of the scriptures. They will give us the proper wisdom, the proper encouragement, the proper engagement. And by which, by that message, children, men, women, elderlies, society, plants, animals, everyone will be looked after. Everyone will could be taken care of. But if we neglect scriptures, or we neglect the message of scriptures, or neglect the saintly people, person is one who only speaks the message of scriptures only, who knows how to make use of matter and spirit, how to interact, and how to make use of matter and spirit. That is a saintly person. So when one uh, looks after the saintly person, that gives saintly person the best care, the best regard, and the best care and best regard, saintly person, what he's after just some time. If someone can give a good listening, some can come up with attentive ears, good listening ears, then yeah, saintly person will share the message of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam with everyone, and not just share in such a way that he will give engagement, inspire. Prabhupada, this is what he did, right? Went to the Western countries, went to America, and gave such good engagement to people all around the globe, such good engagement, and purifying everyone's existence. So Arjuna is avoiding sinful reaction, wanting to avoid sinful reaction. Then Arjuna is that okay, the family traditions, customs, and everything will be spoiled. These are the reasons Arjuna is quoting. And now that we are here, let's read another, I think, two more verses and try to discuss a bit further. And chapter 1, I think it has got 46 verses. So, Evie, would you be okay to read 45, 46?
Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
Thank you. Please read. Let's see. Let's read purport as well. Evie, please read purport.
It is the custom, according to Kshatriya fighting principles, that an unarmed and unwilling foe should not be attacked. Arjuna, however, decided that even if attacked by the enemy in such an awkward position, he would not fight. He did not consider how much the other party was bent upon fighting. All these symptoms are due to soft-heartedness resulting from his being a great devotee of the Lord.
So he's putting everyone's interest before his own self-interest. He's putting others' interest. Mm. He's genuinely caring for others. Unlike in predominantly again in today's world, or unlike Duryodhana, who wasn't at all putting anyone's interest as such, no? He was saying that there are warriors here who are ready to die for me and all. Uh, and also, Arjuna, in his reasons, he's telling Krishna that I've heard this from saintly people. I've heard by disciplic succession. So he's not just something like he's trying to convince Krishna. He's trying to tell Krishna, this is not something which I have made it up. No, I've not made it up. This is something I've heard from the scriptures, from the saintly people. And see, the role of woman is so important in society. I mean, even till date, if we see uh, in any faith religion for that matter, any spiritual practice for that matter, um, any country for that matter, if you see the mosque, church, temples, gurudwaras, and all will be more filled by men or women. Okay, say, who do you think would be more filling um, these places of worship and congregation and meetings and all? Man or woman? Devotees, those who do out books, kirtan and all, who generally again who takes books more, say man or woman? We actually check in any culture, any religion, any place, any country and all, it is women who are more interested in leading a spiritual, pious, holy, religious life than men as such. And women can influence, can give that nice culture, that nice environment in within the house itself and also outside the house. And that doesn't mean that it's just the responsibility of women as well. Men also has a good role to play. It doesn't give any sort of license for men to misbehave or get sidetracked in any form or shape. No. But a child, who does normally a child spend most time with? Mother or father? Any thoughts?
Mother.
Hmm?
It's the mother.
Yeah, child spends most time with the mother only, na? Again, generally now society is changing and all. Okay. But howsoever society may change and all, na, some things women are best at. And it's only women can do and deal so nicely. And some things men should learn and try to educate and see. So here we see like Arjuna is thinking of what exploitation. There will be exploitation at a mass level, world level, and he's wanting to what give nourishment. He's saying, Krishna, Krishna, you are here to give nourishment. You give nourishment. How come are you allowing this exploitation to happen? He's trying to bring all these points to Krishna. Because Arjuna is living in his comfort zone as well, not wanting to fight, and he hasn't got this courage that he can say direct no to Krishna. See, Arjuna is kind of acting just like a young child. Not sure how it happens in UK, but in India, a young child generally now things have changed in India as well. But when I was growing up, myself and some others as well, when I was growing up, like the school before year one and all. So like very first year of my school, very second year of my school. No, don't want to go to school. Don't want to go to school. Who carries this bag? And I don't know teachers, so many people, so many boys, girls, and all. No, I would be better off at home. Even sometimes Anuja's daughter also says, no, don't want to go to school. So, what could be better off at home? Would be better off at home. I will study in the house. I won't do any trouble. I won't make any problem. What's the point in going to school? You can teach me on those lines. Mm, So, and the child says, okay, I won't be misbehave. I will do whatever you say, but I won't go to school. I will do whatever you say, I won't go to school. And mother knows, okay, say 8 o'clock school starts. And if the child manages to be in the house till 8, quarter past 8, so mother knows if he doesn't go to school, come quarter past 8, he will sit in front of telly, he will start playing, he will start doing again very soon what he wants to do. And he will get this habit of next day as well that no, mother, I don't want to go to school. I wouldn't go to school and I will behave nicely. Such is the comfort zone Arjuna is also carrying. He doesn't want to fight, and he's telling Krishna that this will happen, that will happen, I will leave, I will, what is the points, all such things. Further, little more we'll see in second chapter. So he doesn't want to fight, but he's not having this courage to speak up directly to Krishna and say just this word no, full stop. No, he isn't having this courage. So he's saying to Krishna, further on, adding to that no, these reasons and all. Just like a child trying to give some logics and arguments to parents. And parents know once that school time starts, if he doesn't go, then he will very soon he will start kind of making trouble in the house. Krishna also understands Arjuna very nicely. Likewise, Krishna understands us much, much, much better than what we even know ourselves. Way much better than what we know ourselves. And it's not to put anyone down or to say, okay, who is superior or who is like this. No, it is all to put everyone in the path of excellence. Everyone in the path of excellence. How cooperatively, how nicely cooperatively can the society move forward? Individually, can one move forward, and collectively as well as a society level, can one move forward on the way to Krishna? Okay, any thoughts, questions, or comment? Were you saying something, Evie?
Nope, sorry.
Okay. And again, see, a few days back, we were just discussing this, what's going on currently, Russia-Ukraine war. Certainly, it's not good as such. It's unnecessary, or it's giving so much of hard time, struggle, hardships, and all to people in general. But see, who is suffering and all? I mean, men are being made to go to war on both sides. Again, no particular side, on both sides. But this is a very different look at Arjuna's mood. Look at his wisdom, his sayings. Uh, Even though in conditioned state, but he's speaking so lofty. And we in our conditioned state, we just cannot imagine how low we have fallen. How low. Where in society do we have real good regard for children? If we actually had a real good regard now for citizens, then there wouldn't be any uh, intoxication as such going on at this mass level, at this mass scale. Intoxication is in smoking, drinking, drugs, at this mass level, mass scale, so easily handled, readily available. Okay, answered. See, culture. Culture is a huge thing which needs protecting. Uh, EVL and like wherever you have been in UK and seen and all, in city center, would now there be more pubs opening or more churches opening, say, or more places of worship opening?
More pubs, probably.
Huh? And even now, do you think how many pubs would be there in city center in Portsmouth? If Portsmouth has a city center, Portsmouth, right?
Yeah, it has
How
a city
many?
centre. Yeah.
Nice. How many pubs would be there in Portsmouth, roughly speaking? And how many places of worship, spiritual gatherings, meetings like that space would be there in the city center in Portsmouth? What do you think?
It will be a massive difference. I couldn't say exactly, but definitely probably, I don't know, maybe 500 pubs or more. Yeah, on the island, and then I don't know, probably 50 places of worship or something.
And where do you think the pubs will be more full, busy
The
weekdays,
ratio.
weekends, or the places of worship will be more full and busy weekday, weekends? No brainer, certainly pubs, right? Certainly pubs and clubs. And so this alcohol, we see so alcohol abuse, drinks problem, so many police gets these many. See, police policing what? Every city center, Portsmouth, be it any other city center in the whole of UK, in the whole of Europe, perhaps, or many other countries. Again, different countries have their different problems. In India, tremendous amounts of other problems, and also this drinking problem as well. I mean, any sane man can actually understand, right? What that it's not good for health, and it's clearly written. I believe even in this beer cans and bottles and all, it would be written, right? It's not good for health. At least in smoke, in cigarettes, it's clearly written, and it's a diagram shows as well. It's not good for lungs. Uh, so much drugs, everyone knows it's not good. Yet there's easy accessibility of it. Easy accessibility. See, this is the cultural thing Arjuna is saying. And even now, uh, see how many we see, how many churches or places of worship have been converted into pubs. है ना? And how many you think of pubs would be converting into places of worship? Hardly any, hardly any. Also, Krishna consciousness, be it hard nut to bite, say, but it never promotes this um very loose mixing of opposite sex, same sex, or whatever. It doesn't promote very loose mixing of at this bodily platform. Rather, it educates, it teaches one how to respect oneself, how to respect one's body, how to respect one's decision, how to respect one's integrity, one's life's decisions and everything. It's all to build a gentle character, a real gentle moral character in life. And Krishna consciousness is not after head count or numbers. Or if something is written like this in Bhagavad Gita, or something is given like this, like, oh, why do you Hare Krishnas are so much after not intoxication? Why don't you take some intoxication? Or just be relax a bit of your rules and philosophy. No meat eating, not even onion garlic, no intoxication, not even tea and caffeine, coffee and all. Uh, no illicit sex, no gambling. Come on, get a life. Be a bit relaxed. Be a bit chilled out. No, no. Doesn't matter if many may find it a bit something, not struggle to relate to it and all. That doesn't mean that the philosophy or the principles have to be compromised. So it's not like, okay, running a factory as if, oh, how many people can we rope in, how many people can we hire and book into the Krishna conscious say tag. No, that's not the objective. The real objective is how could the message of Krishna be presented in the society. And of course, how could we help people? How could we help ourselves? How could we bridge the gap? How could the message be said, presented in a way that the society can actually understand, try to listen, appreciate, relate, and try to work and act upon it? And how can that platform be provided for people to work and act upon it? So it's all about setting the real sort of culture, upholding real values. Drinks causes fights. Huh? Drinks causes again abuse in relationships. Drinks causes depression. Yeah, certainly. And if someone wants to do research as well, one can see. And many people say, okay, no, moderate drinking is fine. I drink in moderation and all. Uh, But if you check with many of the those who are fully, if I may say, drunkards, if you check with them, at one point they would have started with moderation only, or yeah, they would have started with little only, and then maybe moderation, and now look beyond moderation. It's a holistic cultural thing. Krishna consciousness doesn't promote certainly just like this free loose honeymoon culture. Yeah. Free loose lifestyle with a lack of big discipline and all. And this is Arjuna's concern. This is all what he's saying. Some things to really think about. And one actually, the again this if the four principles, these four regulations, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. If people just follow this four, there will be lots of peace. If people follow one of these four, one will find peace in life. And we should check. See, in field of psychology, I believe, they do a lot of research and survey and all, collect data. So they will be collecting data from smokers and non-smokers. You know? And then trying to understand, okay, if you quit smoking, how does it affect you? How long you've been quitting smoking and all. Like that. Uh, you've been eating meat, some been vegan and all. So to do a good comparison. Uh, but on this, again, mm, perhaps at a gross or subtle level, say, on this sexual activity. Uh, on this, there's hardly any good research, or there's hardly in the sense that they can work out, because everyone is so covered up in it. Everyone is so wrapped up in it. Everyone is so heavily engrossed or covered up in it. So there's no good research as well. Like, okay, we cannot find a good lot of people who are actually a bit free from it. And then we can read into their minds, into their lives, how nourishing is it for them if they are free from this tendency at different levels. So the real reformation is required more of a principle level, principle oriented real reformation of character. Bhagavad Gita will bring about a reformation of real character. And okay, who do you think, all of you answer please, Anuradha, Harsha, Ellen, Evie, who do you think will be is in more in control of life? One who is not engaging in intoxication, not engaging in meat eating, not engaging in gambling, illicit sexual activities, or one who could be engaged in all of this, or one of this? Who would be more in control of life?
One who is not engaging, undoubtedly.
Okay, Ellen also agrees. Evie, Anuradha, any thought?
I agree.
So, yeah, if we really want to have control and if we really want to have strength, command over life, then yes, one who is free from it, he is more strong rather than one who is very much into it or even in moderation, say. No. So, where in society is a room, a place where this culture or where this thought process, where this platform could actually be brought into and checked into, looked into? Is there requirement for this much of animal killing, this much of suffering? Wars, have they increased over the years or have they are they on the decline? And the ways of wars, wow, it's so crazy now. The way wars are being fought. Is this real technological advancement that with this technology we can build such sort of guns, ammunitions, and rockets and whatnot and go in wars? Every other country is having a border rift with someone. Every other country is into wars and all. And if you look into the, say, the constitution or the values, the principle by the which the countries govern, we'll find lots of morality in there. So where is that missing link? So much of um this again animal killing. The law of karma works. One may argue and all, but what is law is a law. So much of this at this massive grand scale animal killing, where will the suffering go? It won't, the suffering won't penetrate this universe and go out of it. No, it won't penetrate this planet. No, the suffering is going to revolve and come back and haunt us only in the form of fights, quarrels, or wars. Yeah? Ever seen someone intoxicated and having good control over his finances and all? Well, he cannot have control over his 2 feet. Cannot is one can, if one is too intoxicated, one just cannot walk properly. What else? What other control can one exercise? Huh? One who is too much engrossed in perverted sexual activity. What control will he have over his thoughts, his vision, and respect? What can we expect? How can we expect a good, real compassion from someone where there is not compassion for animals, even spared, say? And can there be morality where there is so much of gambling, open, free gambling going on? These are the Arjuna's concerns and his points. So if we want to free ourselves from this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, one need not chant Hare Krishna. Perhaps if one just follows these regulations, these principles, uh, to whatever extent one can bring about, one will find lots and peace. And if one chants Hare Krishna on top of that, great, one will find bliss in life. Okay, on this note, I will give you peace. Any final thoughts, questions, comment, or anything to add or say, please? Okay, thank you everyone for joining then. We meet up tomorrow, same time, and we'll continue from second chapter. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, G. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.